Before.
Good evening.
Hello, how are you?
All right, I'm good.
Because the black women are marrying at a 26% rate, right? Raise it began to increase by noticeable.
American thinkers like Thomas Sowell, but people don't really reference people like that to talk about them in
How
conversation.
so? How old are you?
I'm 33.
33. Do you want to be do you want to be married one day?
No, of course, yeah. Before I have kids, absolutely.
Okay. Um,
hmm
by what age would you like to be married?
By the time I become a millionaire, so hopefully 5, 6 more years.
What do you do for a
So let's
living?
say 39.
Women above men. That's really at the base of our culture.
Hmm.
Our women have been talking about dating out and divesting and swirling.
So hopefully 5, 6 more years.
What do you do for a
So let's
living?
say 39. I'm a personal trainer, but I also sell real estate.
You mean a millionaire?
Well, I want to have a net worth of a millionaire because after listening to you, I agree that I don't want my wife to work. And I
Oh,
want to be able to provide for her.
all right.
And so, because I see a lot of people, what we do now
Hold
in our
on, hold on, hold
communities.
on, hold on. Let me bring somebody else on because I'm gonna say this too. Because guys, I appreciate. I want men to be ambitious. I do. I really do. But I don't know many. Just like I can't not lie. I hear a lot of guys who are personal trainers, photographers, real estate, and it's like we're all trying to hustle. You need a profession. I think any man needs a profession that's going to be stable that you can provide, and income is kind of capped. Being a millionaire is not realistic for most people. It's just really not. And I try to. I want to hear from men, but I also want to hear men be realistic. Amira, go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hey, how are you?
Good, good.
That was going to go off.
So, regarding your topic about moving on and dating outside the races, I
Hmm.
wanted to say that I think you know me pretty well. Well, I don't know if you know me very well, but you've talked to me maybe once or twice. So,
Hmm.
I don't believe that we should be dating too much interracially.
Okay.
I don't think we should. And I do think that it's best to stay in your culture, mostly culture, I would say, mostly stay in your cultural tribe. Does that
Hmm.
make sense?
Okay.
So,
So let me ask you if that's a good concept. Uh, but in our community, we're 59% of us are single. 62% of our women are single. That's just a hard number. Right now, 1 in 4 black women will expect to marry in their lifetime. And that's still factoring in the baby boomer generation, my mother's generation. And they were married at a rate of 40 plus percent. You move them out, the number is going to drop to below 20%, in my opinion. So, that being said, how do men marry inside their culture if the women inside your culture are not seeking to be wives?
well, that's hard. That's really hard. The only, when you were speaking about the numbers, the thing that popped into my head was polygamy, was having more than one wife. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how possible that is culturally. As you know, in my culture, it's something that's considered. But
Mm-hmm.
if the women don't want to be wives,
That's the
you're
point.
right.
See,
Yeah, you have to find a wife.
and one of the issues that black women often bring up as making relationships unappealing, thus prohibitive, is black men's fidelity, i.e., cheating. So I don't know many women who, if they have an issue with men's alleged cheating, are going to be all right with polygamy, even if it was legal. I mean, outside the
True,
legalities of it.
true. You have to change the culture completely, and that would that would you would need some type of a reset with that. I mean, I don't want to use that word reset because people are very sensitive about that
you
word.
would have to have a different culture, and who are the transmitters or teachers of culture in human beings? The men or
The women.
And if the women don't want to be wives, I didn't come to this decision lightly. I mean, our women have been talking about dating out and divesting and swirling for the longest, and as I'm listening to women, my generation and older, and they're not teaching their daughters anything about relationships or marriage. They're teaching them independence, going to get your bag and take care of yourself. You can't have men stay culturally loyal to women who don't want to be wives to their very men.
Can I ask you a question? Because I had an idea I wanted to run by you because I haven't had a chance to bring it up with the Lapeef group. But I figured I'd run it past you first.
Great.
My idea was when we were speaking about the freedom that women have today and basically the reasons why they don't want to marry is because of all the freedom. I wanted to ask you, I've been thinking about this for about a month now, and I've been pondering this thought about how this began. And I look in the history and I look at how the freedom began for the women, which basically snowballed into what we have now.
Right.
And I always think to myself that men are, now don't get mad at me when I say
Go ahead,
this,
just say what you gotta say.
that men have caused this issue by allowing this to happen, and that women would not have been able to do this had the men not permitted it so.
Okay, let me add something into that. Men have not, what happened in the Black community was not an expected outcome. Back in 1960, in the 60s, Black male unemployment was at a record high during segregation, civil rights, such and so forth. So was Black female welfare. What the political structure at the time did is they said, we noticed that when male unemployment is high, welfare enrollment is high. So if we want to decrease female welfare enrollment, we need to stimulate male employment, right? That's what has happened in the larger community, the white community at that time. Let's just say Black and white. Let's just imagine America was Black and white at the time. So when white men were unemployed, white females were on government assistance. When white men start working, the unemployment rate, the government assistance rate dropped at the same rate as employment rose. Okay. So black men were being offered union jobs. There was an incentive to get Black male employment up. And as Black male employment began to rise, it began to increase by noticeable, demonstrable, provable numbers. What they noticed was Black female welfare continued to rise at the same rate. It's inversely. It's supposed to drop, but it kept going up. So Patrick Moynihan, have you ever heard the Moynihan report? They went and studied what's going on with Black America. Why is this happening? Why is when male unemployment drops, meaning men reach full employment, why are more women on getting no welfare? And what they were seeing is that women were choosing welfare over to being married with a husband. They were choosing meager benefits versus being with a man who was fully employed.
But what I wanted to, I was trying to argue with.
So the freedoms that women were allowed, what's going on in our community is not really represented in large numbers like with other people because our culture is different. And our culture in the Black community, we're only 13% of the population. We will never set policy in this country. We will always be, and unless you're the majority, you can't set policy. Go ahead.
Well, what I was trying to argue wasn't the color issue was more of a gender thing, just because what I'm specifically talking about are the laws regarding employment, regarding welfare, regarding marriage, family law, and all of these laws that were changed during the women's rights movement.
Right.
And yes, I know that African American Black women were not responsible for this, that they were just kind of dragged into it, but it had an effect on everyone and not just.
But it had an effect on everyone. It had an effect on everyone. But if you got to look at the numbers, the feminism movement was just something else on top of our culture being a problem. The issues that are experienced in the Black community are being experienced in other cultures, but not to the exponential rate of ours. So when non-Black women, when white women were given the right to vote, right, and the right to work, you had the women in the ERA, now National Organization for Women. Go watch a program called Miss America. They had women who were fighting Betty Verdin and all these people for the right to stay at home and raise kids.
And these people were
you had white feminists and white traditional. You had white feminist women and white traditionalist women fighting it out, but they were equally represented. See, the issue is not the freedom, because Black women are marrying at a 26% rate, right? The next lowest group of women is white women at 54%, so they're twice as married. All of the women in this country have the same rights, but Black women in this case are not doing what other groups of women are doing with the same freedoms. They're choosing to be alone, not just free.
So that's the culture, that's not the laws then.
And that's what was the surprise to white America. The white America assumed that when we give Black men a job, Black women will go and stay with their man. They were surprised that Black women chose meager benefits over being with a man, because that's not what white women did. That's really what's at the core of the Black community. As imprecise as I can say it, Black women have a choice to be with Black men, and they choose to rather take a little, to not have a guy. It's almost a source of pride for so many of our women to sit back and say, well, I'm strong and independent. What other group of women in this country, en masse, champions their strong, independent, and I don't need no man to the level to Black women do? It's not the same.
I know none.
So I think this is why people were kind of getting at Anton when he was saying his issue with our culture. And our culture is not it's not a matriarchy or patriarchy, it's a gynocracy. Women above men. That's really at the base of our culture. Women are above the men in our culture.
So if the men start marrying out, if they start marrying out their race, what do you think that will be the effect on the Black woman if this happens?
Well, the women en masse, the same thing is going to happen if they don't marry Black men. They'll die by themselves. It's the same thing. Here's the thing. They're not marrying Black men. They're not marrying anybody. So what happens if you have a group of human females who live their life alone? Do they impact the culture one bit?
It does.
During their lifespan. But after they die, what happens? There's no lineage.
Nothing.
Right.
Yeah, no lineage.
Right.
No culture.
Right. So if the men don't have women who are willing to be wives to keep let's just make this biological. I come at image from an animalistic standpoint. Let's look at it as human animals. If we as the men cannot get the seed of life into the next generation, our species dies. We cannot take the women and forcibly make them our mates. So you have to have women who are willing to be your mates to keep the species going.
That means you're going to have to adopt a new culture.
No, when China had an issue, because they had the one child rule in China, and where for the longest in China, Chinese parents are preferring to keep the male son over the daughters. Mm-hmm. But what happened? they start having an imbalance in available women.
Mhm.
So what they start doing, they start importing women in from other parts of the world. This has
North
always happened.
Koreans.
This has always happened in Anchorage, in Alaska. They're like the amount of men who are making six figures are incredible. It's like 16 men to one woman. They're importing women in those areas. You have to import women if you want to keep the species going, the culture going. Because if the transmitters of the culture are female and the females don't want to be wives, mothers, and transmit the culture, or if they only want to transmit a culture of I'll go get a man's seed and then we'll run a gynocracy. What gynocracy has ever run this planet? Amazonia.
Can I ask you? Can I ask you
Go
this?
ahead, and I'm gonna bring somebody else
Uh,
in up this one.
okay, yeah, I'll hurry up. So my last question to you is this: what do you propose we do here in this country with this problem? Do you propose that we make it more desirable to be married? How can you make it more desirable for women?
Well, make it more desirable. This is a country on freedoms. People have free will. You don't. I said it. You make the market open, competition. Because then, effectively, the reason there's so many black men, reason why we're where we are is because many black men are more race loyal to us than black women. If they don't want to be
I think so.
married, you cannot make them. So, but there are more females on this planet than men, and it's already being done. That's the crazy part. So, talking about it and bringing light to the issue is more than anything else, because if you look at Time Magazine, they posted that article couple of weeks ago, talking about marriage is becoming an elite institution. This is getting into the mainstream now because no country can survive without the fundamental institution of a community, which is nuclear family. You cannot have a country. You cannot have a strong country of singles. So I don't think we're far off from a conversation getting into the large mainstream about how to make relationships, i.e., marriage, more suitable to the men, because the men are just responding to the unfavorable marital conditions in this country. They just happen to be far more extreme in our community. You have to decide them. You really want to choose it, just like we had this national. We can do whatever we want to if we decide to make it a priority. It just hasn't risen to the level of a national emergency. But in the black community, it's beyond national emergency. It's beyond national emergency. And we got to stop acting like it's not. Because bottom line, if you looked at the broadcast I had with that young 26-year-old woman, I would tell you, you are hearing at least half of our women in their prime marrying years more worried about their careers, entrepreneurialism, getting the bag, living their life, doing their thing in the middle of their prime years. They're not even thinking about really wanting to settle down till 30. You cannot have a culture if the women don't want to be wives and mothers. Appreciate it
You
though.
have to make 27 old again.
Well, you got to make 27. Well, actually, you don't have to do that. What you don't do is you don't change by arguing with them. You just change by the men starting to expand their horizons and letting the market sort itself out. So the black women who want to be competitive will find a way to make themselves competitive for the black men who want to have relationships. We have to stimulate the market. We cannot control human behavior. The market will correct
Right.
itself.
Right. Thank you so much, Kevin, for your
Bye-bye.
time.
All right,
It's nice to talk.
Fabio, you're next. Yeah, we got to stimulate the market.